This presentation, nor any of our group's presentations, in no way, shape, or form should take away from the work that our teachers do on the middle school level or on the K-8 level. We have great teachers in all the schools that we have, and we're very appreciative of all of our schools, no matter what. I'd also like to say that we have the best of both worlds in this county. If someone likes a middle school, move. If someone likes a K-8 school, move. We offer both, and that's great. Another thing is, when we start looking at them all, the first thing I'm going to talk about are the scores in our own county, the scores in the state, the scores in the nation, and what the studies say. If you go in and you look at different things, and again, I got to speed through it because I got a lot of things here. In Mr. Logan's presentation, when you look at it, he talks about progress, and only progress. He doesn't talk about what the actual scores are. I liken that to a basketball player shooting free throws. If a person shoots 30% from the free throw line, if they sometimes hit 4 or 5 out of 10, they're still not a good basketball player, but they show progress. If I have a basketball player that hits 8 or 9 out of 10, they're a pretty good basketball player. And there's not a lot of room for progress, although they still work hard and they're still a very good player. A lot of your K-8 schools are at the top of that echelon. There's not as much room for progress. So I would appreciate when next time that you would show all the information there, because it shows here. In math, reading, and science, on the average, your K-8 schools outproduce your middle schools by an average of 8 to 30% in different ones. And again, I don't have time to go through everything. If you look at your adequate yearly progress, only 5 of the 16 schools in Chatham County met their adequate yearly progress. 4 were K-8 schools. 1 was Virginia Cross. What is a very important part about Virginia Cross? They share the very same demographic area as a middle school, yet they made it. The performance composite scores from 2006 to 2010. Again, it's in the works there. You can see it. The K-8 schools outperform the 2 middle schools year in and year out, hands down. In the NC Schools of Distinction, 6 to 7, Chatham County schools made the schools of distinction. Were K-8 schools, none were middle schools. What does the nation say about the research? What I want to do when we start talking about what the nation says, I'll get into different things here in just a second. But the first thing I want to do is I want to show you something that will be in the handout that you're going to get a little bit later on. It is a works cited. Mr. McManus, Chairman McManus, I think you have that. It's a works cited that came from Mr. Logan. And I've numbered them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Number 1 is, whichever one, I think Mr. Logan, you may have that one there. It talks about configuration doesn't matter. Now, I believe, Mr. Logan, if I'm not mistaken, the Chapel Hill News asked you a question, and you said to the Chapel Hill News, this would be a very unbiased report that you're giving. Folks, I did the homework on this. This is a presentation. This is a PowerPoint that is put into Mr. Logan's presentation. The PowerPoint was taken off of a Google map and put into the presentation. Who did this presentation? It was a gentleman named Robert C. Spear. He is the executive director of the New England League of Middle Schools. If he does the presentation, do you not think his mind is toward the middle schools? And not only that, but his PowerPoint came from a group that is the National Middle School Association. There again, I think that that is a little biased opinion. Next, if we look at number 2, one of you guys up there, you have stuck in the middle schools. Mr. Logan took some information. Again, one of his works cited, it says stuck in the middle schools. He cited different things stuck in the middle schools that he put in there that makes us look like a few good things for the K-8 schools. However, what he forgot to put in there was what it actually says. And what it says is, this is the end result of this survey. What we found, the case for middle school reform, in a specific year when students move to a middle school or junior high, their academic achievement measured by test standards falls substantially in both math, English, relative to that of their counterparts who continue in a K-8 school. Once more, their achievement continues to decline throughout middle school. This negative effect persists at least through the 8th grade or the highest grade which we can test. Now, that's a Columbia study. That's not somebody's opinion. That was done by Columbia University. The next one is very important. Mr. Ham, I think you have this one here. Again, it's one of Mr. Logan's works cited here. We quoted part of it, but he didn't tell you what the results said. What were the results of this one? This was done by Johns Hopkins University, and you have the full 56-page report there. The results find that over. This is, give me a second, one more time. The results find that older K-8 schools do perform significantly better than middle schools. That disadvantage is adequately explained by the school's type of transition in the middle schools. And then again, over on page 5, if I'm not mistaken, I wish you guys would give us more time. Somebody else had 3 years to do theirs. Why go back? It says, and this is the most important part. It says, when the middle school model was first established, it was with the notion that isolating those middle school years, the schools would be perfectly suited to handle both academic and emotional needs. Part of what Mr. Logan put in his was, it says, on the other hand, middle schools would be able to engage in a set of best practices, and that's in his, pedagogical strategies, instructional strategies, small learning communities, professional development for teachers, team teaching, and that. However, over the last decade, research has been put forth that would suggest the opposite to be true. Now, I have that in several studies. If you just look at them, it shows where it's the exact opposite. And I'm running out of time. The last thing, and if you'll please let me finish. What do you do when you have this situation? Not only do you get the full research instead of excerpts, you go to a county that has what we have, that has K-8 schools, and they have middle schools. So I took the liberty of going to a county next door to us, and I talked to the deputy superintendent of those schools. This gentleman has been there, and he allowed me to quote him. He has been there for 37 years, which means he's been there quite a while. And this is what he told me, if I can find it. He says, and I quote, a vast majority of middle grade concepts has done nothing more than become the old junior high model. Middle schools are just not capable of doing what the middle school model was meant to do. And here's one of the most important parts. We messed up. We made a mistake when we converted some of our schools. The opportunity for the individual student is minimized in every aspect, and most are left out, therefore causing behavioral issues, declining grades, and dropouts. Academic and achievement are higher at the K-8 level. Technology has allowed the K-8 schools to give just as much as the bigger schools, and it is more cost effective. He also went on to say that you'll be told that K-8 schools cost more to run, but that is normally because teachers stay there and they have longer tenure. The teachers get their masters more often at those schools, and because the No Child Left Behind forces busing to those schools because the K-8s continuously outperform middle schools, and the busing has to go that way. He continued to say, your Board of Education should be primarily concerned with 4 things. Number 1 is learning. Where do the children learn more, and where is it more effective? Number 2, community. K-8 keeps the community in the schools. Middle schools lack heavily in that area. The culture of the schools. K-8 allows an identity. Kids know the teachers, and teachers know the kids, and the schools are more individualized. Leadership. You want to produce leaders. The middle school concept develops more of the no-name, no-face child that eventually leads to dropouts. And his final statement was, no one can convince me that the K-8s should be replaced with the middle school concept. The more individualized a school can be, the better the situation is for every child. And that's what we're doing.